This video is brought to you by Pandawill.com. Pandawill sells thousands of electronics directly from China, including the ZOPO 3X. Please be sure to check them out using the links in the description. The ZOPO 3X, being one of the first MediaTek MT6595M phones, is one of the highest spec phones that I have ever tested. But does the premium internals make for a great experience? This is my full review of the ZOPO 3X. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll have noticed that ZOPO has launched both the 3X and ZP999 alongside each other. The only difference between the 3X and ZP999 is that the 3X has 16 GB of storage rather than 32 GB. This is why some people are referring to the 3X as the ZP999 Lite, since it really is just the ZP999 with less storage. I'll leave links to both phones in the description. Both models are available in either black or white. The back cover has a texturized finish, which seems to be hydrophobic. The back cover can be removed and did a really great job at resisting fingerprints and scratches. There's also a metal band running along the side, which is actually angled to make the phone easier to hold with a single hand. If you look closely, you can see how the device has a subtle curve. The corners are also curved, so that the phone does not dig into your hand. Overall, it feels really nice in the hand, despite its larger size. It weighs in at 166 grams and is 9.2 millimeters thick. The 14 megapixel rear camera is centered on the top, directly above the flash. The ZOPO logo is directly below that, and additional branding appears near the bottom. The speaker grill does cover a fairly large area, but the speaker itself is much smaller. The micro USB port is on the bottom side to the left, near the 3X's primary microphone. The headphone jack is on the top right side, and the second microphone is on the top left. The volume rocker is on the left side, while the power and camera buttons are on the right. The camera button is definitely something we're not really used to seeing, and I really liked having it available. It's not in the way either, which is a nice plus. On the front of the device, you'll notice 3 capacitive buttons: menu, home, and back. The backlighting on these buttons is pretty nice. There's also a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. Call quality on the ZOPO 3X was about average, my only complaints being of a low earpiece volume and poor speakerphone quality. You really have to be listening to hear the other caller through the earpiece. When switching to speakerphone, multiple callers reported a significant decrease in call quality. After taking the December 31st update, I started having issues with reception and dropped calls. I would pick up the device only to find no signal. I also had a couple of calls drop after taking this update. It was working fine before the update, so I really hope ZOPO can fix these issues with another software update. I'll talk about the update experience in a few minutes. 3G support on the 3X is limited to the 900, 1900, and 2100 bands, which means that the ZOPO 3X partially supports HSPA Plus on T-Mobile and AT&T. Since T-Mobile uses the 1700 and 2100 bands, you'll receive HSPA Plus in only a few areas. The same goes for AT&T, since they use the 850 and 1900 bands. I was only able to receive 2G Edge speeds on AT&T's US network in my hometown. It is a dual SIM device, so you can use 2 SIM cards at once. 4G LTE support is limited to FDD LTE bands 3, 7, and 20. There's also TDD LTE support for bands 7 and 40. Please check the link in the description for a list of 4G LTE networks by country.
Of your voicemail over high-spectral data and expiration date, please press 3. For all customer service issues or to speak to the customer representative.
The 5.5-inch 1080p display on the 3X has great viewing angles and looks excellent. Coated in Corning Gorilla Glass 2, it does resist scratches pretty well. The brightness range is good, but not great. Auto brightness seemed low in my opinion, so I usually kept it at about 75%. The ZOPO 3X's speaker sounds distorted and doesn't get as loud as other phones that I've used. It's mostly mediocre, which would be more than acceptable at $200, but it's disappointing to see this on a phone well over $300. The 14 megapixel rear camera is, in one word, excellent. It's a Sony sensor with 5 sapphire lenses and a f2.0 aperture. What that all translates to is great, sharp photos regardless of lighting scenarios. It's really great to see a Chinese smartphone with this kind of a camera. It also records 1080p video. Shipping with a nearly stock Android 4.4.2 ROM, the 3X provides an excellent software experience. ZOPO did customize some of the icons, but most of these can be changed with a third-party launcher if you wish. The good news is that ZOPO has been frequently updating this phone over the past 2 months. However, one of those updates, the one pushed on December 18th of 2014, broke several key functions of the phone. I was very surprised to find my home and camera buttons to become unresponsive and the notification shade to be completely broken after taking the update. After researching this a bit, I discovered that it is a common issue that affected almost everyone who updated using the over-the-air update app. So ZOPO really screwed up here by releasing a broken update, but more importantly, keeping the update available for download. A support article on ZOPO's website, which has since been taken down, advises users to perform a factory reset after updating. Yeah, I'm glad they're releasing updates, but please, if anyone from ZOPO is listening, test your updates more before you release them. I'm about 70% confident that ZOPO will release an Android 5.0 Lollipop update. As long as everything goes smoothly on MediaTek's end, we should see an update before summer of 2015. I say this because ZOPO has a really good track record of keeping their devices up to date. Not only the 3X and ZP999, but also other smartphones that have been released in the past. Powering the 3X, we have the MediaTek MT6595M octa-core chip with a big little architecture. There's 4 low-powered Cortex-A7 cores clocked at 1.7 GHz and 4 powerful Cortex-A17 cores clocked at 2 GHz. The GPU is the IMG Rogue G6200 clocked at 450 MHz. This all translates to excellent performance and a great gaming experience. Scoring a 44,845 in Antutu, this phone is undoubtedly one of the fastest phones available. As mentioned earlier, the ZOPO 3X has 16 GB of storage on a single partition, with over 12 of it being usable. If 16 GB isn't enough, there is a microSD card expansion slot that supports up to 64 GB. Unless you really want the extra internal storage rather than having a microSD card, the 3X is a better choice from a cost perspective. GPS on the 3X worked, but did take some time to lock, especially when indoors. Since I could only get a 2G connection, I did have to use Nokia's Here Maps for offline navigation. Once the GPS locked, it worked just as you would expect. I was initially worried about the battery life on the 3X, but the 2700 mAh battery is enough to get through a full day of heavy use. I would consistently get about 3.5 hours of screen on time, which was enough to get me until about 9 p.m. Unlike many of the other Android phones that I've used, the 3X's display doesn't drain the battery as fast as you may expect. This is really good as it will help many people get through a full day of use. There are also other battery saving options on the device, but I luckily did not have to use them. If you purchase the ZOPO 3X or ZP999 from Pandawill, you will receive ZOPO documentation, a Pandawill Quick Start Guide, earbuds, a micro USB cable, and a European AC adapter. The ZOPO 3X gets a lot of things right. It has a great design, excellent display, and impressive performance. Even more importantly though, it has both a really nice camera and good battery life. The 3X is an almost perfect phone. It only skimps on audio quality. I'll forgive ZOPO for their software update mistake and instead focus on what the phone is. A great device that gets almost everything right. If you are interested in the ZOPO 3X or ZP999, please visit the links in the description to view them on Pandawill. Let me know your thoughts about the ZOPO 3X in the comments below. Also, if you have found this review informative or helpful in any way, please give the video a thumbs up. That is going to be all for this video. Thank you for watching and please be sure to subscribe.